are at Burfeld today, an aerodrome close to Zurich. We're going to take the movie for a spin. Apart from flying, Robin and I'd like to show you how GA pilots can compensate for and also reduce the CO2 emissions they create. Follow us along.
We want to talk about today is how general aviation pilots like Matt and I can reduce their CO2 emissions. There are a few tools that you can use. There are websites. I'm going to show you one. So the source for this data would be Compensate.com. That's one of the home pages that offer either offsetting your emissions or reducing the emissions. There are two ways. First I'm going to draw a tree as good as I can do that in a flying plane.
It's okay to me.
That stands for offsetting emissions, so for station projects. And on the right hand side I'm going to draw a droplet. SAF stands for Sustainable Aviation Fuel. Compensate managed to raise 181,000 euros until now for offsetting projects, and 920,000 euros for sustainable aviation fuel projects. The effect they had with this money was 8,600 tons of CO2 offsetted by those projects, and on the right hand side that figure would come to 1,800 tons. But what we have to keep in mind here is that the offsetting projects, the one with the three left-hand side, that's for about the time span of 10 years, so that's a long-term reduction of CO2 in the atmosphere, while on the right-hand side, the 1,800 tons, that's an immediate reduction by just using sustainable aviation fuel. So as we can easily see, if we divide the two figures, it comes to about 20 euros per ton CO2 if we offset it. And on the right hand side, this figure comes to 500 euros per ton if we want to reduce it by using sustainable aviation fuels. The goal of Diamond Order Funding is to raise more money for sustainable aviation fuels, to ramp up those projects and to make them less expensive, and we hope that more people would use it to compensate their CO2 emissions. But first, let's head back to Burfeld, land, fuel up the plane and change seats.
So our flight, the 20 liters we consumed, they produce 45 kilograms of CO2 emissions. That's the equivalent of a passenger flight on a large aircraft from Zurich to Geneva. With Compensate, I now have the option to instantly reduce my CO2 emissions by going for Sustainable Aviation Fuels, or I can move the lever towards sustainable climate offsetting projects. For our flights, the 45 kilos would result in 15 euros of compensation, and that's what we'll choose for our flight to both reduce and also compensate the CO2 emissions we produced.